Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another video with On Point Politics, your number one stop for all things polling and election analysis in the United States. And today we're going to be looking at my updated forecast for the 2024 presidential election. Make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe if you want more content that is not beholden to any mainstream media source. Right now, it seems like Donald Trump is leading comfortably in all of the battleground states, and it is leading in a very commanding way in the national popular vote by 3.5 points, which would be a pretty big shift compared to the last cycle. It would equate to an 8 point national shift to the right. And if that occurs, practically there is no election in 2024 because Donald Trump would be winning all of the swing states fairly comfortably. What I've done is I've essentially aggregated all of the national polling based on their accuracy from 2020, looking at how many undecideds they have, as well as looking at the sample size and the amount of polls they have in the aggregate, and whether or not they're using a likely voter screen. And when we do that, we actually see that for 2020, we can get a pretty accurate aggregate of Biden plus 4.9, and Trump is now up by 3.5 in our aggregate. And so we are seeing some pretty big shifts at the national level. If Donald Trump outperforms with white voters from the polling, the race is practically over because he's already polling at a victory with white voters as of right now. And so moving into the Electoral College here, it's going to be pretty interesting because we actually see, on a blank map, we see Donald Trump is currently, it's very fascinating because a few years ago, he wouldn't have had a lot of safe states. He just wouldn't have had them. And now he's got Utah, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, the Dakotas, as well as all of Nebraska, except the second congressional district. He's got Kansas, Oklahoma. He's also got Arkansas, Louisiana, Missouri. As of right now, he's currently doing very good in some of the battlegrounds. He's also got Iowa in the safe column, including Indiana, Kentucky, West Virginia, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Ohio in his column right now, as well as Alaska and South Carolina, including Maine's second congressional district. So this gets him to 149 safe electoral college votes in the election. And now for Kamala Harris, just California, DC, Maryland, Massachusetts, Vermont, and Maine's first congressional district are the only safe categorizations for her in the battleground states as of right now. And we see that it's not that impressive because just a couple years back, Joe Biden was doing significantly better in the Electoral College. If we actually look over here, if we look at the U.S. elections, we actually see that Joe Biden won the popular vote by 4.5 points, which is only 0.4 points off from my 2020 aggregate. And we see that, the states were really, really close. And we saw states like, Iowa and Ohio were within 15. Texas was within 15. Kansas was right below 15. South Carolina was a 12-point win for Trump. But we see here that, with the deep blue states, Joe Biden had way more deep blue states than Harris did. That's because she is performing a lot worse with every single demographic. And if your candidate's performing worse with every demographic, it's going to be quite difficult for you to win the Electoral College. And so going back to the electoral map, we see that right now, there are likely states for Harris. She's got Oregon and Washington by 9 and 11 points, Colorado by 8, Illinois by 10. She's also got Connecticut and New Jersey, Delaware, and Rhode Island, including the state of New York. Yes, the Empire State is under a 15-point win for Kamala Harris based out of the election modeling that I have been doing, as well as Hawaii in this forecast. So that is also something pretty interesting to look at right now. We see that there is a humongous shift in Hawaii with Asian voters. It is a big problem for Kamala Harris right now, because if she's doing 15 points worse with Asian voters, I mean, Hawaii has the biggest concentration of them out of any state alongside other voters. And so when you incorporate that, it's actually pretty difficult for Harris to even get safe margins in some of these deep blue states. And when you look at Donald Trump and the fact he's improving by a decent amount in the battlegrounds and nationwide in general, Texas and Florida, they're 14 and 12-point victories respectively. Georgia and North Carolina, they're about 6-point wins each. North Carolina's probably 7 or 8. Georgia around 6 points, Arizona and Nevada around 5 points each for Donald Trump. Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, they're all over 5 points for Donald Trump. I mean, Donald Trump's up in my model in Wisconsin by 7. He's up in Pennsylvania by 6, and he's up in Michigan by 5. So there is some really big momentum shifting to Donald Trump for this election cycle. And since he's gaining with every demographic group, it's going to be really difficult for Harris to even make the race competitive if she's doing 5 to 10 points worse with almost every demographic compared to the polling just 4 years ago. And based out of my election model, it finds that Trump is actually easily winning all of the swing states and that we're headed for an environment similar to 2012 or 2008, 1992, 1988, wherever you call it, where the incumbent party is just not popular. Now, with polarization, Donald Trump's not going to win over 400 electoral votes in this scenario, but the fact that he's even winning all the swing states this easily could be considered effectively a modern day landslide. 2016 and 2020, they were not landslides. The Electoral College count was big, but the actual margins were not. And so I don't really count those as landslides. Those are actually some of the closest presidential elections we've ever had. But it seems like this year, Trump's going to go out there and just absolutely smash Harris in the swing states, and it's not going to even be close. And looking at these deep blue states, New Mexico, just a 2-point win for Harris in this forecast. Virginia, 3.4%. We got early voting out of Virginia and New Mexico, and the Republicans are improving by anywhere 5 to 10 points in some of these states in the early vote. And Virginia, the most accurate election modeler, is saying the margin's going to be around Harris +3 to Harris +6. And I'm on the lower end of that, but the data just keeps getting more and more and more Republican in the early vote. It's absolutely ridiculous to see how much Harris's early vote for the Democrats is even underperforming Terry McAuliffe from 2021. That is a big warning sign for Kamala Harris right now. And looking at, Nebraska second, right now it is a lean Democrat district. It's just moving too far to the left right now. I mean, if I had improved polling, if I could actually craft my own average, it would probably be lean Republican. This may actually be the one district that I get wrong, but we'll see what ends up happening. Now, these are the 3 states in blank that are essentially within half a point right now. Maine and New Hampshire are tilt Democrat in this forecast. They're very, very close states, very competitive states right now. And the campaigns, I mean, Maine, it said that the internals on both sides have it really close. It even seems that in New Hampshire, Harris went there to campaign a few weeks ago. Why would you have to go to New Hampshire if it was actually not competitive? It's because it is competitive. And a lot of, when you look at the crosstabs and you see how they're overestimating Democrats and undersampling independents, that's how you get this adjusted margin in New Hampshire and why it's so close. Now, looking at Minnesota, it is tilt Republican in my forecast. It does actually narrowly flip because Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota have a decent white population, and they kind of have similar trends a lot of the times. And so if Donald Trump's up in Wisconsin by 7 and up by 18 in Iowa, he's got to be winning in Minnesota at that point. Well, it wouldn't be guaranteed because it kind of depends on how Hennepin County trends or Minneapolis is, but it seems like he's doing fairly well in Minnesota as of right now. And we see here, guys, I mean, it's just nonstop. After the Fox News interview, she completely tanked in the betting odds. If you look at the betting odds, she's down over 20 points now in the betting odds. Wisconsin went from Harris +4 in the betting odds. Now it's Trump +10 in just 2 days. Michigan, Trump +12 there. Pennsylvania, almost Trump +20 there in the betting odds. You got massive margins in the Sun Belt. Even Nevada already flipped. So that's a big sign you saw there. Harris was kind of leading in the beginning of October, but as October started, Trump kind of came up, and now he's just been expanding his lead. And ever since October 8th, when everybody started having a reality check, it seems like Donald Trump's been going up and up in the betting odds. And now everybody's seeing what I'm seeing, where he is the heavy favorite to now win the general election. And yes, they got all the polling aggregates and all the betting markets combined only got 2 states wrong, which was Florida and North Carolina. Those are driven by big media polling narratives. And Minnesota is not a 90% chance to go to Harris. I mean, it's just not right now. It is way more competitive than that. Both campaigns see it as a flippable state for Donald Trump. Harris is desperately trying to hold on there. That's why she picked Governor Walz, because she knew that there was a problem there. Even some of the internal polling with Biden and Harris, they were polling about the same in Minnesota. So really right now, it's not looking good for Harris whatsoever. In the battleground states, the Fox News interview was not good for her. That was definitely not a good look at all for her on the national stage. Very unprepared, very unpresidential. Literally mentioned Donald Trump 54 times in a 20 something minute interview. That means that she was mentioning him like every other sentence, basically, because she's not even speaking the whole time. And so now looking at RCP, this is what's very interesting. And this is something that I think is going to really, shake up a lot of people. Look at this. What we just saw now, it has now been updated. But this is the polling map, which if you go back to 2020, you would have had Florida blue, North Carolina would have been blue, the Rust Belt easy blue, Georgia would have been close. You would have had Arizona blue. You would have had, Iowa and Ohio within 2 points. The same map that said that now has Donald Trump ahead by 312 electoral college votes to Harris's 226 electoral college votes as of right now. And so if you guys did enjoy this short analysis, make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe if you want more content just like this. And before you all go, it is very important for you guys to check out betonline.com. They are a website where you can place bets on the presidential election. If we go over here and actually look at sports, we can go on the side here and click politics. You will see right here that as of right now, we got a couple bets on here, election winner to lose the popular vote. We see here that that's actually, the yes is actually the underdog. So a majority of the electorate right now on Bet Online thinks that whoever wins is going to win the popular vote. We actually see here right now, based on the odds, the most likely would be a tied popular vote. And right now, the outcome that's least likely is Harris up by roughly, 7 or more, and Donald Trump winning the popular vote by 2.5 to 5 is almost as unlikely or has the same amount of odds as Harris, winning it by over 5 points. So that really goes to show where the race is at right now. But it seems like the most likely outcome is anything from Harris plus 0 to 2, according to the betting markets. I would say that Trump plus 2 to 4 is within the range of what actually could happen. We also see here popular vote winner. Donald Trump is not the favorite to win that in the betting markets right now. And so Kamala Harris isn't even the favorite to win there. We see the betting markets in the states, the margins in the states right now, as well as the U.S. Senate election. So make sure to go check them out in the description down below. We will be hosting a live stream fundraising for SoCal Strategies very, very soon. And I want you guys tomorrow to really pay attention to other people's channels tomorrow. I want you guys to see this because I think it is going to be something really, really big. I think people are going to find it very exciting, and I will definitely make a post about it once it does come out. But people are going to want to see this tomorrow. It's going to be the biggest story, and I cannot wait for you guys to see it tomorrow. I will see you guys very, very soon. And by the way, we do have an election night mock stream, a mock election night stream at about 10 p.m. Eastern. So if you guys want to check that out, we're going to be testing out some election models that Dustin created. So we will see you guys very, very